Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I'm your host Nick Smith, and I just got done watching the 9th episode of Gotham. And I tell you, this has been a pretty good episode, but ooh, what happens next week? Oh, I want to go ahead and talk about next week, but next week's not next week. Next week isn't tonight, it's next week. Alright, but basically this episode involves around a certain bomber named Ethan and how he can make a bomb out of almost literally anything. They said in the beginning of the episode he made a bomb out of pencil shavings and apple cider vinegar. So the episode was basically about trying to catch him. Gordon and Bullock even go to links to bringing in his brother and talking about him, and we find out that he doesn't make bombs to try to kill people. He's a kind and gentle person, and they actually show that during the episode, because when he is forced against his will to make bombs, he says, he's like, you just got to promise me that no one else is going to get hurt. And that was a really good, I like that he's being used against his will, but he's not crazy. But they did introduce us to Blackgate Prison, and that is where he came from. They were escorting him somewhere, and he got broke out. So, and more in this episode. In this episode, Fish is going to execute her plan to take down Falcone. And in this one, she does. She hits him good and she hits him hard. Because what she does is she has Ian and a bunch of her men find Falcone's money. And I thought she was wanting to steal it. But at the end of the episode, when Butch is like, that was a lot of money that we lost today. And she's like, Butch, we weren't supposed to, the plan wasn't to take the money. The plan was to hurt Falcone by getting rid of the money. She said, you want to hit him hard, and that is and how you do it is with his money, which they did. Now, with Gordon, he's been working on this along with the Wayne case as well, but what he does with Selina Kyle is he takes her to the Wayne mansion, and this was a good thing for Gotham to do, for the writers to do, is to have her and Bruce meet for the very first time and actually spend some time together, and these two actors had very good chemistry with each other. Selina Kyle is trying to adapt to being in Bruce's house, and she's also trying to adapt to Bruce because Bruce is asking her all these questions like, where's your mom? What does your mom do for a living? And it actually makes Selina upset, and where she actually runs out and cries, and things start getting a little bit bad to where Alfred even calls Gordon. He's like, look, we can't take her. This is a little bit too much. We can't do it. And he's like, look, Selina gave them a sketch artist, and they're going around questioning people, which this is what brings us to Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent was a great addition to this episode, and how they did him, it was awesome. We got the flipping the coin thing, but how they did it, how they first introduced him was he was talking to this kid, and he's like, all right, I'm going to make you a deal. Heads, you turn your life around and you go to school. Tails, you go to jail. He's like, you call it. And he's like, heads. And he lands on heads. And he's like, get out of here, kid. Go to school. And then we find out that it is the double-headed coin. And then this is where Gordon and Harvey they're more they're not really friends, but they're more friendly to each other than they were in The Dark Knight. But, with this, we find out that Selina does give a sketch, and they find out that it is this guy. I forget what his name is, though. But they find out that he might have something to do with the Wayne's murder. He might have even done it himself. I forget what the person's name is. I really wish that I had wrote it down, but I didn't take any notes. But this is all off from memory. Now, one thing with Penguin, he creeped me out in this episode because he's a freaking perv. He is a perv. Of course, though, a bunch of you are probably going, duh. No, but what he does in this episode, he sneaks into Lila's house, and he sniffs her clothes, and he takes her perfume. I was like, you are a freaky person. You are a freaky and creepy dude. And he even goes to Fish, and he's like, I'm just checking in and being friendly. And then he sneaks into her apartment, and he's like, I apologize for the intrusion. I know how this looks. But he basically says, look, what would you do if I told you I knew you were spying on Falcone? And I can call him right now and he'll kill you. And she's like, no, he wouldn't. He cares for me. he makes her break, and he basically gets her to admit that she is spying on Falcone and working for Fish. And all Penguin does is like, you're going to keep working for Fish, and you're not going to tell anyone that this happened, that this meeting happened, and that I know, or else you're going to die. Plain and simple. You are going to die. Alfred. Alfred in this episode has points. Alfred always has a point and has a purpose in each episode. In this one, the fact that he asked Alfred in the last episode to train him how to fight, that's what we get in this episode. Bruce is there boxing, and every time Bruce keeps making the same mistake, Alfred's able to land a hit on him, but he's not really hitting him. He's got like those... Bruce has the boxing gloves, but Alfred's got the ones that are meant to deflect him. And when Alfred's not looking, he punches him. And when Alfred isn't looking, Bruce punches him. And when Bruce isn't looking, Alfred punches him. And Bruce is like, ow, that hurt. And Alfred's like, yes, Master Bruce, that did hurt. But the point is, the point is to learn how to take a punch and not just throwing them. And we get more development. And in this episode, Bruce actually starts training more. He jumps in the water, and he's trying to see how long he can hold his breath. And he says he's trying to get his body to succumb to his own free will. I mean, like, of course, our bodies are our own free will, but he's trying to basically break his body's limits and make it to where he controls his body. You know, being the Batman, pretty much. And him and Selina have some good conversations. Selina toys with Bruce's emotions, and I love that in this episode. She asks him, why isn't he in school? He's like, well, I developed my own critical thing. I'm studying what I want to study. And we don't see him do any detective work in this one. It's mostly him just trying to learn how to adapt to being with Selina. And Selena's like, have you ever wanted to kiss a girl? And I was like, oh my gosh, she's toying with his emotions. Ew, it was so funny. And then, like, during the end of the episode, her and Bruce are eating breakfast, and she throws her donut at him, and he's like, what'd you do that for? And she's like, if you hit me, I'll let you kiss me. But I bet you won't. And then we see them being kids. They're throwing food at each other. They're enjoying their time with each other. And Alfred sees this, and he calls Gordon, and he's like, Gordon's like, look, is she behaving? And he's like, no, but she's okay every now and then. Yeah. So, but with the end of this episode, one thing I did hate, I could not stand this. Gordon calls Barbara, and she's laying in bed with wine, and there's a fire, and he's like, I want you to come back to Gotham. I need you. I cannot do this without you. And then when he says, I love you, someone covers her arm, and it's the woman. She's oh my gosh, I was like, you, Barbara, you! I hated that ending, oh my gosh. And something else, they finally opened back up Arkham, because they decided to take all the people from Blackgate, because early on, Ethan's brother was like, he didn't get the proper care at Blackgate. So the mayor decided to open Arkham back up. Even Arkham is in horrible condition, and it's over 200 years old. He's moving everyone into Arkham, and he's making it Arkham Asylum for the criminally insane. Arkham is fully up and running, and we are discovering that maybe more than one person had to do something with the Wayne's murders. Instead of like how it was in the comics and in Batman Begins, they were just murdered because he was desperate. You know, he was a drug addict and he didn't know what to do. You know, he was just desperate. And Joe Chill is the one in the comics who killed the Waynes. And so now Bruce gets to see what the killer looked like, and Bruce is wanting his parents' killer brought to justice, of course. But, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. But, oh my gosh, this was such a good episode. And this has been quite a big build-up. They have been building up to something big happening ever since I think the second episode. Like the second episode, or like the first episode, they've been building up to something big and bad happening, and next week, something big and bad is going to happen. And it is, oh, it's so awesome. But we do see how smart this guy is. The guy who can build a bomb, he makes a bomb, and he makes it out of he made a bomb and he put it in a cheese platter. or like, it's one of those baskets that like comes like the gifts and stuff that you get around Easter or Christmas time, and the security guards are opening it, and then when they're getting ready to bite into it, the bomb blows up. It goes kapoom. And like I said earlier in the beginning of this episode, Ian does not like hurting people. Ian knows how to make bombs, but he doesn't do it to hurt people. He does it to take down places that he finds cruel and violent, like destroying buildings with guns and stuff like that. That was the only buildings that he would destroy, and his brother's family was put in the witness protection program at the end of the episode. So, all's well that ends well, except that Barbara went back to her lover, even though... I'm not going to say that. Kind of dug myself into a hole here. But, guys, I cannot wait until the season... I don't know if it might be the mid-finale or the season finale, but this has been a good episode. I don't know if Gotham is going to run on 10 episodes a season. They might... Walking Dead only had 7 episodes of its first season, but that's because each episode was an hour long, and each episode in here is an hour long to 45 minutes, depending on how long commercials are. But this was a pretty good episode. We got some chemistry between Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne. We got some more chemistry and some great relationship building between Bruce and Alfred. We got more of a development and growth for Gordon. And Arkham has been brought back. Arkham is now full and efficient. And this episode was awesome. I strongly recommend you guys check out this review. Tell me, what did you think about this episode? What did you like about the fact that Fish is finally executing her plans for Falcone? What do you think about the fact that Penguin knows that Liza is working is spying on Falcone? What do you guys think? I really want to know. Comment below, let me know, and guys, have a good night.